Welcome back, everyone, to the BGF Podcast, episode number 23. I'm your host, Gianluca, alongside of
Brandon.
And today we got the Week 4 Power Rankings. Our schedule is coming back, boys. Sorry about that. Just, stuck with school and stuff. But anyways, we're back. Let's get it done. Power Rankings Week 4.
The predictions were still made last week, and I'm back in it.
Brandon won last week, so he got his first win of the season.
I got 9 out of 15, you got 8 out of 15, so it was actually closer than...
It was a close matchup. And Brandon, fucking lucky guy, man. And I fucked up my survivor pick once again.
So you're on strike 2, and
I'm on strike number 2.
Alive. I took Dallas, he took Cincinnati.
I took the Bengals, which is a mistake, but hey, it happens, right? But anyways, let's get into these power rankings. Brandon, most dominant, hasn't changed. Well, it has changed.
Yeah, it has changed because we have one.
Because we only have one team right now.
I don't know if I'm being biased with this, but I think the only 4-0 team that has looked pretty dominant in every single game is the San Francisco 49ers. So in our first tier here, we got the Niners playing against the Arizona Cardinals, winning 35-16 at home.
Yeah.
It was... You know what? I'll give it to the Cardinals. They put up a good fight, but just the quality of the roster was always going to shine through in this one. And Christian McCaffrey with one of the best performances, if not the best performance of the season, 4 touchdowns. What was the exact numbers?
So he had 20 rushes for 106. That was 3 touchdowns there. And then he had 7 catches for 71 and a touchdown, which is kind of wild for a running back. Yeah. You almost had 200 all-purpose yards, which is crazy anytime someone does that, especially at that running back position. But yeah, I mean, what else can we say to McCaffrey then? This
guy is a legit MVP candidate right now.
He's just been dominant. Every single week he's been with the Niners, he's had a touchdown. That's just not normal. What is it, 14 weeks now? 13 weeks?
Yeah, it's about something like that. 12.
Something crazy.
I think it's 13 now.
But yeah, no, anyways, crazy on McCaffrey's end. He's been lights out. Brock Purdy had a hell of a fucking game. 20 for 21, 283 and a touchdown. Very, very elite numbers.
Another MVP candidate right now.
Maybe.
What do you mean maybe? Why not?
Because it doesn't have the numbers like CJ.
And anyway, Brandon Ayuk puts up 148 yards in his 2 games that he has been fully healthy during the season. He's put up over 100 yards, so he's really emerging as one of the better wide receivers in the NFL right now. Yeah, all in all, it was a good performance, and going into Week 5 where we're going to face the Dallas Cowboys, I think this was a nice game to go off of, considering Arizona beat the Dallas Cowboys, so that'll be interesting. And I thought the defense played pretty decent. I thought the offense was very, very good. And it's just nice that we only gave up 16 points there, but there were certain points in the game the defense was struggling a bit, but it's nice to see when the defense isn't playing at its best, that the offense can still
bail you out.
That we have an elite offense now. Like usually when we had Jimmy Garoppolo and just whatever other quarterbacks we had, it was not like this. Now there's no worry. We know the offense can pull their weight like the defense can, and I'm excited for next week. I think we're definitely the favorite going into that game right now.
Yeah, I think so. I think next week's going to be a really fun matchup. I think you guys are going to take that one, but we'll get into that one once we hit the spreads. Also, just want to mention, very impressed with the Cards. The way they've come out this season, knowing they're not one of the better teams on paper, but still performing every single week. Joshua Dobbs is emerging as a legit quarterback.
I hope he
can get a shot in somewhere else, because I feel like when Kyler Murray returns, they're probably going to run Kyler. I think that's a mistake. You got to ride Josh Dobbs for now just because he's been so hot. But anyways, let's move on to the next tier.
Yeah, the next tier, we got the Buffalo Bills at 2. The Philadelphia Eagles at 3. At 4, we got the Miami Dolphins. 5, the Kansas City Chiefs. And at number 6, we got the Dallas Cowboys.
Yeah.
So this is a pretty big... I think this tier, there's a very big tier break on the next one after this one.
Yeah.
These guys are really the elite NFL teams right now. And we'll start off with the Buffalo Bills and the Miami Dolphins, which was probably the game of the week, I'd say.
Yeah, it was arguably, going into it, the most hyped up matchup. And... Buffalo delivered. Buffalo really delivered, and they started off really slow. First week, 1 loss. You saw Josh Allen throw 2-3 turnovers. I don't remember the exact number, but it was a lot of turnovers.
Yeah, it was the same guy that got.
But then, I mean, ever since then, he's just he's accepted his faults, he's accepted his mistakes, and he's just put his head down and started working. And you see him just going at it week after week after week, getting better and better, and just more dominant. And, the Miami Dolphins going into this were arguably the second best team in the NFL.
Mm-hmm.
And the Buffalo Bills shut them down pretty bad. And they did all this without Trey White.
Yeah, did he tear his Achilles?
I don't remember what he did, but I'm pretty sure he got hurt. And they didn't even have Jordan Poyer.
Yeah, no, he was out. Because I know DeMar Hamlin was.
DeMar Hamlin securing his award.
But yeah, Stephon Diggs put up a really good performance. That touchdown that he got where he broke 2 tackles and then that was an amazing. He had a great performance. And for them, this is just on a side note. I feel like Gabe Davis always has the first touchdown for these guys. I don't know what it is.
They love Gabe Davis on their first drive.
I feel like he always gets the first touchdown, and then I don't see him for the rest of the game. So it's very weird. And Latavius Murray, their leading rusher, not much on the ground for the Bills. It was really spread out between Murray, Cook, and Damian Harris. And all around 21 for 25 from Josh Allen, very efficient, 320 yards, 4 touchdowns, no picks. And he's right now also one of the leaders in the MVP race.
Yeah, he should be.
As for the Dolphins, it wasn't. I wouldn't say it was a terrible performance defensively.
It wasn't. Just the Buffalo Bills
are such a good offense.
They're just a powerhouse in offense, and the Dolphins, we knew this going into this. They didn't have the best defense, and Buffalo Bills definitely exposed them a little bit. I was a little disappointed with that offense. The passing game wasn't as efficient as I thought it would be, considering who was out for Buffalo. But hey, their ground game on the other end, Devon Achane, just coming out of absolutely nowhere.
This guy is taking over.
He's taken over. He's just doing some incredible things on the ground, and I'm happy for the kid. It's about time he gets a chance, and I wasn't expecting it this early, but I'm happy it's happening.
We knew it was going to come at some point. He is just how quick he is and how elusive he is. It was about time that this was going to happen. 12 yards a carry on his 8 rushes is insane.
Imagine having 8 rushes and 2 touchdowns. You're literally scoring a touchdown every second snap.
Yeah.
No, every 4th snap. Sorry, but still,
it's crazy. Yeah. And Tyreek Hill only getting 3 receptions is something that you're not going to win many games if Tyreek's only getting 3 catches. So, you know what? Miami's still one of the better teams in the league. They played one of the great teams in the NFL. So they'll be able to bounce back. I'm not sure who they play next week, but
I'm not sure about that one either. But we'll look at that one once we get to the spreads. Anyways, moving on to the Eagles.
They'll be just fine. Yeah. Next up, the Philadelphia Eagles. This was probably the most entertaining game, I think. This was
arguably the game of the week.
Yeah, this
probably was the game of the week.
They were very close to taking a loss in this game. The Commanders, with no time left on the clock, scored a tying touchdown to send to overtime. And if that was me, I'm taking the 2-point conversion there. I don't know what Ron Rivera is doing, taking the field goal. Obviously, if you're gonna play conservative in this league, you're not gonna win many games.
You need to be a little aggressive out there, Ron, especially when the game's on the line. You have nothing to lose. The momentum's all on your side.
You're right there, man.
I probably would have gone for 2. And, I mean, look, they didn't. They ended up losing the game, so we'll never know what happened if they went for it. But just, anyways, the refereeing in this game was horrible. Mm-hmm. I'm sorry. I mean, there is human error, but there was a clear favorite to win, and it just sucks. It seems like it's like that every week, but it is what it is. Eagles got it done somehow. As
for Philly, though, A.J. Brown was absolutely torching Emmanuel Forbes in this game. And that was his welcome to the NFL moment for Emmanuel Forbes.
So you're coming up against some average-sized wide receivers. Get ready to come up against this fucking beast. And he put on the show. 9 for 175 and 2 touchdowns is really, really good. But yeah, no, on the Commander side of things, we're really impressed with Terry McLaurin and the bounce back game from Sam Howell. Mm-hmm. He's had his moments where he's been bad, but he's also had his moments where he's shown flashes, glimpses of hope. And I feel like this game against this team was a great, great performance. Very, very motivational game for this young man. I feel like he's going to take this momentum forward and just hopefully do good. Eric Bieniemy, let's give him his credit. Mm-hmm. He's made this offense look decent in times. Maybe it's a consistency thing. It's his first year. They're not there all the time. But, hey, as the season progresses, it can be a serious team.
Mm-hmm. And as for Sam Howell, though, you come off throwing 4 picks. Yeah. And you come up against a very good Eagles defense. Yeah. You put up a good performance. And out of that draft class, in terms of quarterbacks, I think between him and Purdy, those are really the 2 that I actually trust to have a prolonged NFL career right now, because the rest of them ain't looking too great.
Yeah, no.
So yeah, let's move on now to who do we have next? The
Kansas City
Chiefs, the Taylor Swift.
The Taylor Swifty Chiefs, baby. Let's talk about that one. They go up against the New York Football Jets on a Sunday nighter. I'm pretty sure it was Sunday night. And I mean,
it wasn't their most impressive performance. So let's say that there was a lot of controversy at the end of the game on the holding that was called on Sauce Gardner. To me, that wasn't a pass interference.
No.
I don't think that really was. I don't know. We're starting to see some referee bias towards the Kansas City Chiefs. It's not something new there. But
it's not something new. They've had this for a while now. It is what it is. You know, they're a good football team. They started off the football game very strong. I thought they were going to blow out the Jets. Props on that Jets D to just like really hang in there and just tough it out. Also, props on Zach Wilson. He looked not bad in this football game.
This was his best game of his NFL career, I think.
Arguably his best game. He was hitting his receivers. He was hitting Garrett Wilson, which is what you need to do. Just the only thing I have with this Jets team, and I don't understand why they don't utilize Breece Hall more. Like, he only had 6 carries for 56, whereas Dalvin had 5 for 16. It was basically a split. Honestly, why?
I think I'm ready to say Michael Carter is better than Dalvin Cook at this point.
He probably is, which is just, it's sad, honestly. As a Vikings fan, just what he's done for the team is like, I won't forget it, but it's, you know, he's at the end of his career. Mm-hmm. Especially in the running back position. He doesn't have that same burst. It's as if his brother took everything from him.
Yeah, it's like they swapped.
They swapped roles. It's weird, but I mean, good on his brother. Just, you know, Dalvin, I don't know, man. Hopefully he can bounce back.
But like last year, he wasn't bad. That's why I don't get how it's just like a sudden bang that he's just washed, man. But he's at the age where that does happen, especially with running backs.
There was a cliff, and he unfortunately ended up on the wrong side of it, and yeah.
And as for the Chiefs, though, Isaiah Pacheco had a pretty nice game. He had a nice touchdown run as well, so nice to see a nice bounce-back game for him. And all around, it's just with the Chiefs, it wasn't nothing...
it was nothing crazy, but hey, like we've been saying... It's
unfortunate, though, for Zach Wilson, to him to fumble that. They were driving.
He had a good game. Yeah. We gotta give the kid some props. He had a great game. It's just like you said, unfortunate circumstances. That's the NFL. Mm-hmm. I've seen plenty this season.
Yeah, you guys, the Chiefs are gonna move on to 3-1, and as for the Jets, just a wash of the season by the looks of things right now. Because I don't think they're gonna go make an acquisition a quarter.
No, I doubt it. But anyways,
even though it wasn't his fault this game, but I still think they should.
They should do something.
Next up, we got the Dallas Cowboys, who beat up on
the New England Patriots without Matthew Judon and Christian Gonzalez.
The New England Patriots are another team that it's like, I don't know, man.
Bailey Zappi made an appearance in this one.
Yeah.
But no, let's talk about this Cowboys team, right? You had Dak Prescott, 28 for 34, 261 and a touchdown. He was okay. He was whatever. Tony Pollard didn't have his best game, but you're playing against a very good New England defense. Your defense, on the other hand, carried you once again. Let me just go check how many touchdowns they had. They had 2 touchdowns, 2 picks, 2 touchdowns, and I want to see if there's any fumbles. I can't find the fumble stat, but I'm pretty sure there were a few fumbles. Anyways, defense carried this Cowboys team.
Like they do every week. This offense, yet again, does not impress me. Mm-hmm. I don't like this offense. With McCarty calling the plays, I do not like this offense. I think that Kalen Moore loss is hurting them bad. I think it was a lot better than last week, obviously, the offense, but still.
Yeah, but look, you're going up against a New England Patriots team who started the game hot. They were strong, but then they lost Matthew Judon and Christian Gonzalez, 2 superstars on the defense. It just crippled them. Their offense couldn't keep up. Their offense was getting destroyed by their defense, and
yeah. I think it's time on the Pats that Bill Belichick was Tom Brady really. Was it a one-man show?
I don't know
what. Well, we knew going into the season, though, that New England's weapons on offense weren't going to be enough to get it done. Like,
yeah,
you just look at it, and Ramondre Stevenson, it's kind of... Every time I've watched him this season, I've been disappointed. It's just... There hasn't been that...
He hasn't looked the same.
Yeah, he hasn't looked good. It's just he hasn't not looked good at all. And is it because they're keying in on the run because they know there's not much through the air? Is it have something to do with that? I don't really know. Even Ezekiel Elliott, they were saying that he was gonna have a big impact this game. Not much was there. It's only getting. He didn't even get 10 touches this game. He had what two receptions and 6 carries. It was a game to forget for New England, and I think it's probably gonna be a season to forget as well for them. So
probably another one, and I mean maybe at the end of this year, right, with the depth of this quarterback class, you start looking at that position once again. I mean, this is what Mac Jones' 3rd year.
I don't even think Mac Jones is actually. Like, I'm not even a Mac Jones fan, you know, I don't really like him, but I don't even think this is really on Mac Jones. Like,
I don't think it is his fault 100%, but I do think he has to play a little bit better.
Yeah, he does.
And it's just, New England doesn't surround him. They have been doing this for years, especially with Bill Belichick. He loves that defense, always drops defensively, which is okay, but when your defense is not doing what it's supposed to do, there's an issue. There's an issue. But anyways, let's move on.
Next up, on our next tier, we got 3 teams here. The Detroit Lions, the Baltimore Ravens, and the Seattle Seahawks. Let's move on to the Detroit Lions first.
That Thursday nighter.
Yeah, they
beat up on them Green Bay Packers.
Yeah, Green Bay made a nice little comeback towards the end, but it wasn't enough.
It's too little too late.
Feels like that. For some reason, it feels like... Well, not for some reason, because it was a Thursday nighter. It feels like that game was ages ago.
It was a while ago. And, I mean, here's the thing with Detroit, right? Why the hell did you draft Jahmyr Gibbs so high to have him
2 carries
out-touched by David Montgomery 32-8? Now, David Montgomery did have 3 touchdowns. Goal line work, he's there, he can get in, and he has those tough yards. But 32 for 121, like when you get 32 touches, you should put at least 150.
Yeah.
You're averaging 3.7 a pop. It's not horrible.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say. Like 3.7, it's not great, but
you touch the ball 32 times.
Yeah, a guy that puts up we've seen guys that have had 25 plus carries and they haven't done much of it. So at least he put them in the end zone 3 times.
Yeah, he did. And I mean, Jahmyr Gibbs on the other end only had 8 carries, but he had 40 yards. So he was averaging 5 a pop. He's just more explosive than Montgomery in the run game. I know that Dan Campbell loves that power running back scheme. Like, he loves the power backs. He loves running it down your throat and like work in the trenches. That's his style.
Sorry.
No, I get it. Like, you drafted a good O-line. That's why he's there. But just Jahmyr Gibbs, why did you draft him so high?
That's not what I get. Why wouldn't you have just kept Swift, who's basically like a same profile of player as Jahmyr Gibbs?
Yeah.
Instead of wasting a 12th overall pick on. But the thing with Detroit is they hit on all their other picks in like Laporta, Brian Branch. So in the end, you could kind of say, oh yeah, it's like they picked them at 12, but yeah, I don't know.
No, Detroit's done a really good job drafting and building up this team from where it was a few years ago.
It's just you have such a talented player just being wasted.
I know.
We've seen it before. We saw it last year with Williams and Swift. It was the same thing. He would always run Jamal Williams because he loves that power back and. I don't know, we saw DeAndre Swift. Now we see DeAndre Swift in Philly doing his thing. And you'd imagine he could have been doing this in Detroit all these years.
He could have. But anyways, that defense on the Detroit Lions, that D-line is really, really good. I have to give it its props, man. Wow, do they look good. Aiden Hutchinson is a freak. He's in there a lot. Isaiah Buggs as that D-tackle, that nose tackle, that big body in the middle is a home wrecker.
Yeah, 2 plays in a row.
He stuffs that run.
One of the drives.
He bottles them up, and he puts pressure on Jordan Love. And Jordan Love was feeling the pressure. 23 for 36, 246, and 2 picks is not great.
Yeah, I feel like with Jordan Love, though, so far this season, it's been like either really, really good or really, really bad. There's no in between with him. I feel like that first half was absolutely terrible.
That first half sucked.
Yeah.
Comes back, 3rd quarter.
He looks a lot better.
Touchdown. 4th quarter touchdown. But then Detroit woke up and they're like, okay, we got to actually put this game away, and ended up stomping them. But yeah, no, good performance by Detroit all around.
Yeah, they're definitely hands down winning that division.
I don't know about that one yet. We'll see.
Next week, who are they playing next week? They're playing. I know they have an easy matchup until their bye.
I can go check Detroit.
I think they have one loss going into their bye, and they're gonna be pretty confident.
We'll see. Detroit has a tendency to fuck it up.
I don't know, but
we'll see.
You can't deny, like, as of right now, they're definitely a contender in the NFC.
They are a contender.
Yeah. We have
they play the Panthers next week.
Yeah, that's a game they should easily win.
The Bucks is going to be an interesting matchup. I want to see that defense versus this offense. But anyways, we'll get into that once we do the spreads.
Next up, we got the Baltimore Ravens. They played against the Cleveland Browns.
Yeah, they beat up
Cleveland
Browns.
Browns team who had Dorian Thompson-Robinson at quarterback. And apparently it was only really like an hour before the game that he found out he was playing. So you're putting your rookie in a tough spot. And from the reports I had seen, Deshaun Watson was cleared to play in this game, but he said he knew his body and he felt like he wasn't ready to go. I don't know. You put your rookie in a tough spot. I don't really like that from Cleveland.
Yeah, that was a pretty low blow from Cleveland. He comes in with
terrible.
He looked awful. It's not his fault. He probably was not ready for it. I mean, 121 yards and 3 picks is not great.
Yeah, there's not much to really be said on Cleveland side. But as for Baltimore, Lamar Jackson had a throwback game.
Yes, he did.
On the ground and through the air, he looked very, very good for Baltimore.
4 touchdowns from Lamar.
Mm-hmm. Very, very nice. And Mark Andrews was very good as well. Without Rashad Bateman and without Odell Beckham Jr., they're still able to put up the numbers. And as well in this division, Baltimore is definitely in the driver's seat right now for the division.
Yeah, they probably are.
That division, especially with the way Cincinnati's struggling, it's all over the place. Besides Baltimore is the only one that has looked consistently very good. And they can also very easily be 4-0 if they hadn't lost in overtime to the Colts.
Yeah, they can be. And, I mean, whatever. Well, that Colts game, there's a lot of officiating issues there too. But anyways, let's move on.
We'll move on now to the next team, the Seattle Seahawks. They played yesterday night against the
New York Football Giants.
Another shit show of a game. I think this game was more about how bad the New York Giants offensive line is and just their team in general and their offense.
I mean, the thing with Seattle, right, is their offense didn't have a crazy performance. Like, Geno was 13 for 20, 110 and a touchdown. Kenneth Walker, though, had a very good game in the ground. Zach Charbonnet, 5 for 31 as well. Not too bad. He's getting some work. But their defense looked pretty good here.
Devin Witherspoon had the performance of his career so far, man. He's definitely in the front seat for the defensive rookie of the year. Yeah. Especially off a performance like that.
1,000% agree with that. I mean, and typically with the Seahawks team is they have a great offense, they don't have a great defense. It was nice to see their defense win them a football game.
Especially the run defense, I find is really improved compared to last year.
Yeah, it looked decent in this one. I don't know if it was just because, like you said, that Giants O-line sucked or what it was, but this defense didn't look too shabby for the Seahawks. And if they can keep up this performance with their defense and be this disruptive and this dominant, might have a serious team here in Seattle.
And it's also the first game that they've had all their guys back. Like Tariq Woolen's missed the time. Witherspoon missed the first game. Bobby Wagner's been out. So they've always had guys out. This was the first week that they finally had everybody playing, and we saw the difference it made. And Seattle's another team. I think they're going to be a playoff team this year. And
they are.
If they were in any other division, I think
might have won it.
Yeah, they could have. They would have been able to win, but they're in a very tough division here. Next up, we're going to move on to our next tier. This is a pretty big tier. This is kind of teams that are just in the middle right now that
we don't know how we feel about them yet. We have an idea of where they're projecting, but we just don't know.
So we got the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, the Jacksonville Jaguars, the Los Angeles Rams, the Indianapolis Colts, the Los Angeles Chargers, the Washington Commanders, and the Houston Texans. So we'll start off with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, who beat the New Orleans Saints
26-9.
It was honestly from the beginning of this game.
This was Baker Mayfield's best performance in a while.
He's having a nice comeback year, similar to Geno last year.
Yeah,
he's looking very good. I'm happy for the guy because everyone since he's come into the league, everybody's just kind of shit on him, and it's a good, nice comeback story from him, and he's definitely could be in the comeback player of the year conversation. 1,000%
agree with that. I mean, just looking at his numbers, 25 for 32, very efficient, 246, 3 touchdowns and a pick. So he was seeing the red zone pretty good. He's looking a lot more comfortable in this offense, which is nice to see. Chris Godwin had a nice little game, 8 for 114. Unfortunately, got a little banged up at the end. Hopefully he's okay.
Mike Evans left in the middle of this game, which is at least Chris Godwin was able to.
Chris Godwin was able to help out.
And just the only gripe I have with the Bucks is the run game. Rashad White.
He's not great.
He's not especially between the tackles. He's not a guy I'm really too fond of, and I don't think they should have let go of Leonard Fournette. But Leonard Fournette's also been picked up by another team, so maybe
bring him back.
Maybe there's something I don't know on Leonard Fournette, but I think they needed a guy between the tackles, and I think Rashad White should be being used how Jahmyr Gibbs is being used right now with the Detroit Lions. And yeah, even the Tampa Bay, their defense has been very, very good the first 4 weeks.
Very disruptive.
Antoine Winfield Jr. is one of the players I really like on that defense. We saw Vita Vea as well, I think.
Vita Vea getting it done like usual.
Yeah, he had a forced fumble. Did he have...
I don't know if he had... I think he had a sack. One.
I felt like he had 2 sacks.
I can check that real quick. He had 2 sacks. You're right.
Okay,
you're correct.
He did have 2 sacks. He was having a very good game for them. And overall, Tampa Bay has been a very surprising team. And I'm confident in them winning their division as well. Honestly, Tampa, we could have moved them up a tier, to be honest.
We could have moved them up a tier. You know what?
I think this is pretty safe for now, and they're having a really good year, and I'm impressed. I thought Tampa Bay was not going to be great this year, but they've proved me wrong so far.
And happy by it. You know what? They've been playing good. We got to give them their credit. They're the best team in that division right now.
Next up, we can go on to New Orleans side here. It was Derek Carr. You could see he was still banged up. He wasn't ready to come back.
Alvin Kamara came back, first game back. I think he had 11 carries or something.
He had 13 receptions for 33 yards. It was just a lot of dump-offs. Derek Carr wasn't good. Michael Thomas had 4 receptions, 53. Just that whole passing offense, not much to talk about there. Just Chris Olave, 1 reception for you, 4 yards. Your best receiver to get 1 catch for 4 yards is unacceptable.
Yeah, you need to get him more involved.
You're never going to win a football game like that. New Orleans moves on to next week, and I hope they can get back on track. And we'll move on now to the Jacksonville Jaguars, who beat the Atlanta Falcons in London. And basically they're home.
They're always there.
Next week they're back. They're playing Buffalo in Tottenham Hotspur Stadium.
So they're staying in London for a week.
It's basically their home. It's kind of crazy how often they play there. Yeah, they beat up on the Atlanta Falcons 23-7. Another Jacksonville. They were okay. I didn't think they were anything too spectacular, but they had a good game. I more want to talk about Atlanta in this game.
Yeah, let's talk about that Falcons team because
Desmond Ridder is a conversation to be the worst quarterback in the NFL. Well, starting quarterback in the NFL.
I don't know about that. I still think Fields is up there.
No, he's up there. Like I said, up there. Him, Wilson, and Fields are.
They're pretty close.
This guy should not be the starting quarterback for this team anymore. He's really holding these guys back. Like, they're passing the ball more than they ever have in past years. We know Arthur Smith teams are going to run the ball, but this year they're passing the ball more than usual. Like, these are numbers at Pitts and London. Like, if you're going to throw the ball 31 times, they should be able to do something off them.
Like, why are you hitting Jonnu Smith six times? That should be Kyle Pitts. Why is Jonnu Smith your number 1 pass-catching tight end? You drafted Kyle...
Pass-catcher, period.
You drafted Kyle Pitts 4th overall for what reason? It does not make sense. Make it make sense. Drake London, arguably one of the more talented wide receivers in the NFL. Super young guy. You only hit him for three catches, 28 yards. They were basically dump-offs, and he still made plays.
At least you got utilized in the end zone for the size.
I don't understand the Kyle Pitts. I really don't understand the Jonnu Kyle Pitts thing. Jonnu is also a great pass blocker, Artie Smith. If you want to use him in the pass blocking it, he's pretty good. Use Kyle Pitts as your threat in the air because you drafted him for what?
And on a positive note with this team, at least they're not a guy that you can't waste. Bijan Robinson has been superb since he's come into the NFL.
He has looked good.
14 carries, 105 yards, 7.5 yards a carry. And plus with 5 receptions, 32 yards. Early on in the game, he breaks one of the Jaguars' defenders' ankles.
Yeah.
He's just... I'm so happy that he has come into the league and proved how great he is, and he's taken his college production into the NFL. And
he's looked good.
It's been great to see. He's been a top 3 running back in the NFL so far this season, and I think we're going to continue to see that in the next years. And as for the Jaguars, I don't really have much to say on them.
The Jaguars' offense, yes, they put up 20 points, but it does not look as impressive as it sounds. I think they only had one touchdown. Yeah, one touchdown. Everything else was field goals. And, there's just something wrong with this Jags team. I don't know what it is. And
I know, maybe we're being too harsh. Because they were still, like, Evan Ingram was utilized, Christian Kirk. It's Calvin Ridley, not too much. He had that touchdown early on in the game, but besides that, he was quite anonymous.
Yeah, but, like, even Lawrence, right? 23 for 30, 207 and one touchdown. That's it. That was your only offensive touchdown. The other touchdown came on the defensive side of things. Desmond Ridder threw a pick six. And everything else was field goals.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I don't know what it is. Something about this Jags offense is not running right now. And whatever, we'll move on.
Yeah, anyway, just lastly on the Falcons, I hope to see Taylor Heineke start for this team sometime soon. I'd imagine it does happen. Because I don't see Desmond Ridder really turning this around. And within the next, I don't know when their bye week is, but after their bye, I wouldn't be surprised if we see Taylor Heineke starting.
If they want to salvage the season and have a chance at playoffs.
This is a legit decent team. Like, this is a good team.
It's not a bad team. It really isn't a bad team.
Because I think if you have Taylor Heineke, you could be a 3-1 team and battling with Tampa for this division, like we had in our predictions. But I don't know, they just don't have it right now. And anyway, we'll move on now to the Los Angeles Rams, who faced the Indianapolis Colts. They had the lead most of this game. Indy made a comeback late on.
29-23 for the Rams.
To overtime, and the Rams were able to secure the win in overtime.
So Matthew Stafford looked pretty decent. Puka Nacua was back. Did his thing. Nine catches, 163 yards and a touchdown. He's back. They also got a lot of they got efficiency in the run game. Kyron Williams, 25 carries for 103 and 2 touchdowns. Not the most productive, but he got it done. He's definitely the workhorse back in that backfield, and
they love him when they get in the red zone.
They do love him in the red zone,
especially on the goal line. This guy is got every touchdown for. I think he's one of the leaders in touchdowns right now in the NFL.
He could be. He could be.
I think he has about 6.
Could be, but yeah, no, I'm more excited about this Colts team than I am about this Rams team.
No, but still, for the Rams though, give them credit. They've been a lot better than I thought.
They have been.
I didn't think they'd be this good. They could. This is another team that could easily be 3-1. They've been very impressive. Just you blow the game a bit at the end, but at least they end up coming out with a win. As for the Colts,
Anthony Richardson, right? Let's just talk about him real quick. 11 for 25, 200 yards and 2 touchdowns. 10 for 56 on the ground and a touchdown. He looks decent. Mm-hmm. He definitely does need some work. He's not the most efficient passer. He also has a turnover point. I think he had 2 fumbles in this game. Yeah, 2 fumbles. One of them was lost. One of them he was recovered. But either way, you got to hold on to that football. That's just coaching. You're going to be fine with that. But he looks decent in the pass game. He's got an arm.
Mm-hmm.
He's just got to work on that accuracy a little bit. And I think this Colts team is ready.
Yeah, I don't know. This year, I don't think they're going to be a playoff team. Or I think it's going to be like a...
But they have a chance at the division. If Houston drops off...
I think Houston right now... Or not. I think Jackson... Okay.
They're all 2-2.
Yeah, no, let's give Jacksonville the respect. They're the favorites for this division. As much as we say, they've been not as great, whatever. This is... We say they haven't been great for a certain standard, because if the Colts were winning 23-9 or whatever, and Houston was, we'd be saying the same thing for them. So...
But
we'd be saying that
the thing with the Colts and Houston is they were not expected to be good.
Yeah, but I still think Jacksonville. If I was betting on this right now, I still think Jacksonville would win the division.
Their whole division's 2-2.
Yeah.
Anything can happen. Anything can happen.
I still think Jacksonville's the favorite for this division. As much as I love Houston, I said Houston was gonna win this week.
Yeah.
I like this Houston, especially their offense. It's been very good. Even their defense, Nico Ryans has been playing well. We'll obviously get into that later on. But I don't know. I don't think the Colts are gonna win this division though. They're inconsistent. They have weeks where they look really, really good, and it's to be expected. They're a young team with a very young quarterback.
They are. Yeah.
There's gonna be weeks where they look really, really good, and there's gonna be weeks where they look really, really bad. This game, that first half, they look really, really bad, and not every week they're gonna come back like this and have a chance to win. So, I obviously like this Colts team overall, but I don't know if this is the year where it's all going to come together for them.
Yeah. Anyways, let's move on.
The Los Angeles Chargers who beat the Vegas Raiders.
Pretty badly. I'm pretty sure it was pretty bad.
I think it was an 8-point win. Something like that.
Oh, yeah, it was an 8-point win.
24-17, they beat the Las Vegas Raiders. Aiden O'Connell at quarterback for the Las Vegas Raiders.
Looking better than Jimmy G.
Not too hard to do with the way he was looking.
And I mean, you want to get into this Chargers, Steve? Let's do it.
I know the passing offense was definitely not how it had looked in the first.
It was
3
not
weeks.
there.
It wasn't really there. They were missing Mike Williams in this game. I know Quentin Johnston was out there for a lot of the game, but he only catches one ball. I know just
one
they
thing.
ran the ball quite a bit with Josh Kelly and Herbert, 12 carries, which is something you don't really see too often from him.
No, that's one thing I have to give credit to the Vegas Raiders is their D-line was causing so many issues for Justin Herbert. Max Crosby.
This guy needs to go to another team.
Max Crosby was in there so often. 2 sacks and 2 TFLs.
He's truly being wasted playing here.
Absolute disruptor. Got to give this guy some props. He's one of the best D-linemen in the NFL and just doing his thing, keeping the Chargers in check, forcing Justin Herbert to make those quick reads, and some of them were incorrect. He did throw a pick, but I mean, it's okay.
We saw Justin Herbert get injured in this game. Henry Tillery, I think is his name, the defensive player from the Raiders.
Oh, yeah,
dirty hit on Justin Herbert.
Interesting thing.
He should have been ejected for that.
Interesting thing is he was a Chargers teammate last year, I believe. He was on the Chargers.
Oh, he was.
And he just destroyed his old quarterback.
Yeah.
That was not a clean hit.
Well, let's see at least the Chargers players stand up for QB. You saw how many people were around them.
Yeah, I know. It looked like it was about to be a brawl in that field. But anyways.
One thing I'll give to the Chargers, though, is like their passing offense wasn't really working. They were able to go to their ground game. Like they did it against... what did they play first week? I think it was the first week. Or was it the second? I don't know. When they're able to... I think they're able to adjust more than they were in past years where it was really just if the passing wasn't working...
They'll go to the ground.
And in past years, if the passing offense wasn't working, they would lose games. This year, I think they've been able to adjust better. Even now with Austin Eckler being out, with Josh Kelly, they've been able to adapt.
So that's Kalen Moore.
Depending what the game script is looking like. So I think, the Chargers, still undecided on these guys because, like, overall, on their overall roster, I like, but I don't know what this team's going to do this season. They have weeks where they look good and they have weeks where they don't look as good. So
let's move on to a team that looked pretty good.
The Raiders, you don't have really much else to say on this team. They're just a bad football team. Next up, the Washington Commanders. We did talk about earlier in that Eagles game.
They look pretty good.
Yeah, they look pretty good. So, not much more to really be said on them. Then we have the Houston Texans who beat the
absolutely
Pittsburgh
beating
Steelers
up
30-6, and this really opened up a lot of eyes on CJ Stroud. If you hadn't really been paying attention to the Houston Texans this year, their offense has been looking good all season, and this week was really where it took another level. CJ Stroud again, 300 yards, 2 touchdowns. Amazing.
This was the Nico Collins show.
Yes.
7 catches for 168 and 2 touchdowns. People were projecting CJ Stroud to suffer in this game just because of that Steelers pass rush. And to be fair, he wasn't as accurate as he was in past weeks. 16 for 30. It's not great. You want to be more efficient. But that pass rush was there. I watched the highlights on this game. I didn't watch the full game. And CJ Stroud has this probably one of the quickest releases in the NFL. Something beautiful to see. That's exactly what you need to do to stop a pass rush that good. And Steelers were not able to get home. And just very good performance by CJ Stroud. Defensively, this Houston team, we said it from the beginning, this defense needs to step up. They're not great, and they had one hell of a football game. I mean, I think they had something like 4 sacks. 3 sacks on the day, like 6 TFLs. Great game. 1 pick. Defense looked really good. They bottled up this Pittsburgh team. They weren't able to do nothing. I don't know if that's just because of how bad Matt Canada is as an OC or what, or the Steelers' offense. It has something to do with it for sure. But this Steelers' offense did not look good, and this Houston team just absolutely dominated.
Yeah, you hit the nail on the head. The Steelers' offense I've never been impressed with it. It's just I never understood the hype, especially with Kenny Pickett. Like, what is this guy showing in his career that people were all in preseason? Oh, he looked good in preseason. Good for him. It's preseason.
Hey, listen, Najee looked good. I have to give it to him.
For the first time in a long time, he's looked good. But yeah, finally, just on CJ Stroud, I'm happy for the kid that he's really shutting out the haters, because we saw pre-draft, right before the draft, all the stuff coming out about him that he can't pass these IQ tests and
it doesn't matter.
Stuff. All these narratives on Ohio State quarterbacks and how they've never been good. Well, he's one of them.
He ain't Justin Fields.
Yeah, exactly. He's one of these. He's really defying the odds here and shutting that narrative down that Ohio State quarterbacks aren't great. And I'm happy to see he's really. You said it earlier. He's really one of the MVP candidates right now. He's been one of the best quarterbacks in the NFL. And if you were starting a franchise right now, CJ Stroud would be very high on that list of players you take. He'd definitely be in my top. Well, quarterbacks-wise, he'd definitely be in my top 10.
I mean, if you're looking at quarterbacks, right, there are very few quarterbacks that I would take ahead of him.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously, you got the elites like Patrick Mahomes, Josh Allen. You probably take Joe Burrow, Justin Herbert, Jalen Hurts, Lamar.
I think Lamar is...
And that's where it sort of cuts off for me. After that, you can make a case for Lawrence.
Did you say Herbert?
Yeah, I said Herbert. You can make a case for Lawrence. And
I take
maybe Tua. Maybe Tua.
I take Stroud over both of them, honestly.
Yeah, I don't hate that. But anyways, very, very good performance from this Houston team. Let's move on right along. Won't be surprised if this Houston team actually does win the division.
Mm-hmm.
But we'll see as the season progresses. It's still young. It's still young.
They could fade out. They are a young team, so we'll see. But it's nice to see the flashes that they've shown so far. The next tier we got, these teams are just like, we said the tier we just said was like the middle. This is like the bottom of the middle.
Yeah, this is like you're looking at maybe not making the playoffs here.
Yeah, all these teams, I don't expect many of these teams to really make the playoffs. You got the New Orleans Saints, the Atlanta Falcons, the Arizona Cardinals, the Cleveland Browns, the Pittsburgh Steelers, and the Green Bay Packers. So yeah, first off, the New Orleans Saints. I said it earlier, not much to really be discussed this week. It was not a great performance from them against Tampa.
No.
Derek Carr seemingly was still injured, and I wonder if he will be playing next week. Or are they on?
I mean, what do you do if you're the Saints, right? You're 2-2. Your season's not over. You take the chance, rest Carr, probably take an L.
Mm-hmm.
I would probably do that. I would rest Carr, take an L. Jameis Winston, whatever. You got to ride Jameis.
I know he's not terrible, Jameis Winston.
Not horrible. He can move it sometimes. It just depends how he's feeling. But anyways, let's move on to this next team. The Atlanta Falcons. Mentioned them also a little bit earlier. Yeah, offense needs to just turn something around. I mean, Artie Smith needs to start utilizing his weapons a little bit more. Maybe bring in Taylor Heineke. But, yeah.
Which team do we not talk about here? Do we talk about all
Talk about every single one of them.
We're talking about the... Anyway, we'll move on to the next tier. The intro team. These teams are kind of in trouble right now. They need to just keep on winning or else it's not looking great. We got the Jets, the Tennessee Titans, the Minnesota Vikings, and the Cincinnati Bengals. The Tennessee beat... Yeah, we'll talk about that game. The Tennessee Titans
beat up on them Cincinnati Bengals, and it was...
ugly.
It was really ugly. I can't even lie. You know what? Like, props to Tennessee. You know, Mike Vrabel makes them play hard every week, and it showed. They were just too much for this Cincy team who's been struggling, and Joe Burrow's been struggling.
And I have to say though, with Joe Burrow, like, people are gonna say, "Oh, he's injured. He's playing injured," but there's something more to it than just the injury. Like,
he's just not there.
It's really like one read with him, and he's just throwing it. I don't know. He's not really going through his progressions as he usually would, and. Yeah, it's really concerning for the Bengals because their whole offense is struggling now because of it. And they need to figure something out because Zach Taylor's ass is on the block right now, man. He's looking...
he's on the hot seat. Looking grim. It's looking grim for Zach. But, I mean, this Tennessee team, the best this offense has looked all season. Derrick Henry was productive. He's back.
I don't know if he's back.
No, I don't know if he's back, but he was back this game. And if Derrick Henry starts going... This Tennessee offense is instantly 10 times better.
Mm-hmm.
Because this whole offense runs behind Derrick Henry. Ryan Tannehill had a decent game. It wasn't too great. 18 for 25, 240, a touchdown and a pick. It's sort of what you would expect from him. And pair that alongside Derrick Henry in the run game. They had a great showing. The Cincinnati defense looked horrible. I mean, everyone's been able to bottle up this Tennessee team minus you guys. The Cincinnati O-line looked awful. Jeffrey Simmons was a homewrecker. He was in there pretty often. 1 sack in the TFL on the day. Tennessee had 3 sacks on the day, actually. Yeah, 3 sacks. And like 5 TFLs. So that D-line was hitting. Cincinnati's O-line's in trouble. I don't know what else to say. This O-line looks as bad as it did when Joe Burrow first came in.
Mm-hmm. Well, they made it to the Super Bowl there with the offensive line looking terrible. But one guy I do want to shine a light on Tennessee is Tajay Spears.
Yeah.
He's really impressed me. He's given this Tennessee offense like a different look that it's never had, really. It's always been just Derrick Henry's the workhorse. But, Tajay Spears is giving them a back that can play out of the backfield and can catch pass out of the backfield, and you can make explosive plays, and it's really a two-headed monster in that backfield with him and Spears.
If they start running a committee, which I don't think they ever will, but if they do and they like really split the Derrick Henry Tajay Spears workload, I think this offense can look much better. But hey, that's just me. I'm not an NFL coach, and
I think if Spears was somewhere else as well, like if he was getting more touches, he'd be talked about a lot more. But because he's in Tennessee behind Derrick Henry, I don't think he really gets much buzz. So just want to shout out to Tajay Spears.
He's looked good.
Yeah, I've liked him so far this season.
He's
and as well
good.
for Ryan Tannehill, who's struggled a lot this season. This was his best game of the season by far. He looked a lot better.
And I think you hit the nail on the head for that Cincinnati team, right? There's something about Joe Burrow. He doesn't like have that killer instinct that he usually has. You know, when he's like feeling it in the zone and he's locked in. He just seems out of it this year. Maybe it was like the contract. I don't know.
There's only so much that you could say about the calf injury.
Yeah.
Like there's something else that we don't know about that's
affecting
this team. And I don't know. If it was me, Zach Taylor would be out by now. Because I know they've been a good team in the past years, but I don't know, I've always had like something with Zach Taylor that I don't know. I just thought there was something off about him.
Yeah, he's been fraudulent.
Mm-hmm. Anyway, next game we're going to talk about. I'll leave the floor to you.
So my Minnesota Vikings finally getting it done. 21-13 over the Carolina Panthers. And one thing I have to give credit to this team was the defense looked really, really, really good. Marcus Davenport played his first NFL game, and he was
for the Vikings
in there. Like, he was pressuring them all game. Him and Danielle Hunter looked legit. DJ Wanham also got it done. He had a beautiful scoop and score touchdown. Shout out to Harrison Smith. This man had probably the best performance of his career. 14 tackles, 3 sacks, 2 TFLs, a strip fumble. What more do you want from the man? The guy had one hell of an outing as a safety. And no, it was nice to see the defense bailing out the offense. I mean, they've been doing it pretty much all season, but it was nice to see it hit. Brian Flores only blitzed 35% of the time. Why? Because the Vikings were hitting home with 4 pass rushers, which is something this team has been struggling to do consistently. Obviously, you're playing against this Carolina offensive line who's not too great. But shout out also, now we're going to look at the offensive side of things. That O-line played really, really good. They were creating some space for Alexander Mattison in that run game. 17 carries for 95 yards is great. He's been running angry ever since he got that stuff said about him. Cam Akers came in 5 times for 40. I like that. I want to see him used more. And Justin Jefferson, man, if you are hurt, please sit down. Do not play. We need you for the season. We need you for the long run.
Especially that he hasn't signed his contract yet.
We need you for the long run. Please, they are going to abuse you if you play. And, I mean, it's crazy to say 6 catches for 85 yards and 2 touchdowns is a bad game. But for Justin Jefferson standards, that's a bad game. And, this offense had some instances where it's shown. Kirk Cousins had some dumb moments in this game. I won't even lie. But that second interception, why the fuck is Ed Ingram still on this football field? You signed Dalton Reisner for what? To make him sit on the bench and put pressure on the old? That doesn't make sense. Ed Ingram didn't have an awful game. But when he made a mistake, it came at the most crucial time. The offense was driving, and he lets his man run right over him and deflect the ball out of Kirk Cousins' hands.
Yeah, that was a bad interception.
Like, you signed Dalton Reisner for what?
To sit.
To sit. And next week, You go up against the Kansas City Chiefs. They got Chris Jones in there. He is an absolute dog at that D-tap. He is going to pressure us all game. I do not trust Ed Ingram to block this man. I would feel so much more confident if Dalton Risner steps in there and just helps us out. And that's pretty much it about the Vikings team. I'm excited for next week. Definitely gave me some hope. And
DJ Wonnum was a guy that I was really impressed with.
DJ Wonnum had that whole D-line had a game.
He had the strip for the touchdown there. We also had another one where he almost picked it off, and he had the whole field. I don't know if he would have made it.
He would have made it. I believe in DJ.
I don't know if he would have made it, but he almost...
It was right after Kirk Cousins threw the pick 6.
Yeah.
It was their first time on offense, and they were in the red zone.
He just came out of nowhere.
He almost had it. That would have been crazy. He should have had it.
Imagine DJ Wonnum 2 touchdowns.
He should have had it, but I mean, honest to God, very impressed with Harrison Smith. One hell of a football game from that man. And
moving on to the Panthers side though, Adam Thielen 2 weeks in a row, he has a really nice performance back against Minnesota. 7 receptions for 76 yards. Terrence Marshall 9 receptions for 56. And we know this Carolina team, they put up a good fight. They almost had it towards the end. If they could have scored that touchdown and got the 2-point conversion, they could have tied up the game and made it more interesting. But you know what? With the way they've been going, at least they stayed around for the whole game and kept it close. But we know this roster is just not really up to standard. And the interesting thing here was Chuba Hubbard having more carries than Miles Sanders. There was this whole thing this offseason with Miles Sanders signing a 3-year deal that he was going to have this
massive workload.
Yeah, massive workload, and it just has not happened for him. He's been a real bust for this team. And so far, Chuba Hubbard, I think, has been better than him this season.
I would agree with you. I think Chuba needs to touch the football a little bit more.
Our Canadian boy needs more touches.
More than Chase Claypool. Anyways, let's...
that's one for later. And yeah, I don't know. Not too impressed with Carolina as I expected. And it looks like Chicago is going to have the first 2 picks in this draft. I don't know why they would have traded, though. I don't know why they would have traded their first.
I feel like Carolina, towards the second half of the season, is going to win some games. I feel like they're going to be a 5-win football team.
But their offensive line is bad. They're just...
I know. But I feel like they can get some wins.
Against the Chicago Bears.
Yeah. And I mean, do the Bears really care at that point? It's either you're drafting a 1 or 2 and you're whatever. Anyways, moving on.
Our last tier, we have the Vegas Raiders, the New England Patriots, the Denver Broncos, the New York Giants, the Carolina Panthers, and last for a 3rd week in a row. They were close to getting out of the basement, but they were staying there because they choked the lead. We got the Chicago Bears. So the last game we got to talk about is the Chicago Bears versus the Denver Broncos. The 2 worst teams in the NFL were going at it.
This was a battle for Caleb.
Chicago was looking good. They were looking like, you know what, Denver's defense is just the worst thing they've ever seen. They were driving. Justin Fields has 4 touchdowns. They're looking at DJ Moore is going crazy. Just the whole offense looking good.
A 21-point lead heading into the 3rd.
Chase Claypool was the real issue here. It was what it was looking like in the first half. And second half, I don't know what happened. Denver just came back, stormed back, and Russell Wilson looked good yet again. 21 for 28, 223 yards, 3 touchdowns, no interceptions. It hasn't been his fault this season.
I have to give it to Sean Payton. He's turned this team around.
Well, I don't know about team, but...
the offense. Sorry, the offense.
He's turned the offenses look good. And Javonte Williams, you see him go down. Jaleel McLaughlin comes in, and I had never heard of this guy before the season. I won't lie to you. And he's looked pretty good for this offense. To start off the year, we see Jerry Jeudy looked okay. Marvin Mims, a guy who leads this team in receiving and is like 5th in catches. I like to see him use more shorter. It's really just the long ball that he's used on.
Yeah.
I'd like to see him shorter routes and whatever. Cortland Sutton gets a touchdown. McLaughlin gets one. It was an entertaining game because of the comeback with Denver, but these 2 teams are going nowhere, and we saw that in this game. Both these teams have their issues.
One gripe that I have, right? You're tied. It's 28-28. You're driving down Denver. You're at their 18. 4th and 1 with 2 minutes 57 left in the football game. You go for it. You don't convert, and that costs you the football game. Why you don't take the field goal there, I couldn't tell you. Yes, Denver's offense was hot. I agree. But either way, you give them 2 minutes and 57 seconds to go down and score. You could have kicked the field goal. You could have brought this game to overtime. Instead, you try to go for it, and it backfires, which is just typical Chicago fashion. And that's about it. That's all I have on the Bears.
Yeah, these two teams are not really going to do much this year. And
one thing before I forget. Khalil Herbert finally utilizing the run game. 18 for 103. I love to see that. I want to see more Khalil Herbert. I think that dual threat with Justin Fields and Herbert is legit if they go down that route. But anyways, that's about it for Chicago's offense.
That's it for this week's games. These are our power rankings. Let us know in the comments if you do like these power rankings, because we're having fun. We have fun doing them, so let us know on that. Got anything else to go over this week?
I think that pretty much sums up our power rankings. We're gonna be back with the weekly spreads. We're sorry we missed out last week, but anyways, this week expect some more weekly spreads. And that about wraps up our videos. Don't forget to leave a like and subscribe to the channel and hit the bell so you can stay notified and see all our videos when they come out live. And hope you guys have a great week, and we'll see you guys in the next one.
See ya.